Hello, my name is Dr. Eugenia Steingold, and today I'll be talking to you about depression. So let's start with the basics. What does it mean to be depressed? If you don't like yourself, if you don't like your life, and if you believe that's how it's always going to be, chances are you are depressed. How do I know that? Because these thoughts are not your natural thoughts. It is natural for people to want to be happy. It is natural for people to do something they enjoy, to spend time with people they love. It is actually natural for people to like and enjoy themselves. Those thoughts are called depressive thoughts. And in fact, that's not what you are thinking. This is what your depression makes you think. This is not you talking. This is your depression talking. And what I would love for you to begin to understand is that your depression is not you. How do you distinguish your voice, your own voice, from the voice of your depression? In fact, there are a few key words that depression always uses. And I just used one. The first word is always. For example, if you feel I always fail. The depression gave itself away by inserting always. Another word is never. For example, if you feel life is never going to improve, things are always going to be this way, I will never succeed. Whenever you hear these words, whenever you think these words, never or always, chances are these are not your thoughts. This is what your depression makes you believe. So what is depression? I like to think of it as a funny animal or creature or monster, an organism that comes to share your body and your mind. You can think of it as an overgrowth of sadness. A little bit of sadness is great. It makes you sensitive. It allows you to connect to people. It makes you responsive to other people's pain. It makes you a better person. However, whenever there is an overgrowth of sadness, you are no longer a better person. In fact, you are not a functioning person at all. All you want is to spend time in your room, preferably in bed. Whenever this happens, you are dealing with depression. Another way to think of it is a multitude of bacteria living in your body and your mind. A healthy amount of bacteria is great. It's healthy, it helps us digest food. In the same manner, a healthy amount of sadness is great. It helps us digest life. However, whenever there is an overgrowth of it, we're dealing with an illness. And the illness is to be treated. It's not to be neglected, and it's definitely not healthy to wait it out. You have to address it. And we begin to address it by recognizing that we share our body, we share our minds with something foreign that tries to dominate us. And that foreign animal is depression. Now, why did it come to live in our bodies and in our mind? That's actually a very deep question, which I hope we will address later on. But what I would love for you to understand is that it's there because at some point in your life, you actually invited it. Something happened to you. You got hurt. Maybe somebody you loved left you. Maybe the relationship you never wanted to end ended. Maybe you didn't get that job you wanted to get or didn't get into school you wanted to get into. Maybe there was a problem in your childhood. I don't know you, but I know that there was a painful event or a series of painful events in your life. And eventually, in response to these events, you invited depression. Now, the good news about it is this one. If it was you who invited it, it is you who can kick it out. You actually have power over it. And as funny as it is, you regain that power by listening to your depression and then by talking back to it. So let's listen to these depressive thoughts and let's see if there is any truth to that. For example, I always fail. Is it true? Is it really, really true? I'm sure you have failed at something. So have I. So have everybody. Even the most successful people have something they failed at. There is not a single person without regrets. So I'm sure you have your history, your painful history of failures. Having said that, is this sentence, I always fail, true? Wasn't there something, anything at all that you have succeeded at? Maybe it's something you don't give yourself credit for. Maybe it's something that you chose to forget. However, I'm confident, I'm positive. If you look into yourself and into your past with honesty and integrity, you will find something you can be quite proud of, something you cannot dismiss as failure. Let's look at another thought. I was never happy and I will never be happy. Is this true? Your childhood might have been incredibly painful. You might have been in unbelievable pain right now. But is it true that never in your life you experienced joy? Is it true that never ever in your life you experienced happiness? And if you're saying yes right now, you're not being entirely truthful. It's impossible. During unbelievable circumstances, in jails, in prisons, in Auschwitz, people knew moments of happiness because this is our true nature. And I'm sure there were those moments in your life. I would love for you just to acknowledge that fact, that no matter how great your pain is right now, there were those moments in your life. Now, as far as the second part of the sentence, I will never be happy, it's just impossible to know, right? You might not be, or you might be happy again. We have no idea. And so let's just leave it at that. It's a big unknown what the future holds. But notice that the sentence, I never was happy and I never will be, cannot be true. So you just learned one thing about depression. It is not truthful. It is tricking you. And I want you to recognize that. All your depressive thoughts are tricks. There is some truth to them because you are in pain now. You probably were in pain yesterday. You might have experienced some personal trauma recently. And all of this remains true. But the global depressive thinking that you've never been happy and never will be, this belief that the depression makes you hold right now, this belief cannot be true. And that's why I'm saying it is tricking you. So we've established that depression is not truthful. Is it helpful? Are these thoughts helping you? Now imagine a mother speaking to her child and saying things like, oh, I know you will win this game. Now she's not being truthful. She isn't. She cannot possibly know. She can believe that. She can hope that. She cannot know. However, she is trying to be helpful. She may not be helpful, but she is trying. She has the best intentions. Is depression trying to be helpful by lying to you? Is it trying to motivate you? Is it trying to help you believe in yourself? We probably all know that the answer is no. So the next question is, why should we succumb to those thoughts? Do we need them? I think that at this point, what's really important is just to recognize that depression is powerful. It makes you believe things. Even now, looking at this video, you might be thinking, oh, this is never going to work. And even this is depression talking. This is a very powerful animal. I've got a lot of respect for depression. However, as powerful as it is, you should be able to kick it out. Why? Because it takes a wrong space. This is not depression space, this is your space. And slowly but surely, through the series of these videos, what I will try to do is to help you to claim back your personal space. Bit by bit, you will take your space back free from depression. So we have established that those depressive thoughts, or depression itself, is not truthful and is not helpful. However, it is still powerful. It still has power over your decisions and over your actions. So what do we do? How do we deal with this powerful, tricky animal that came to live in our bodies and in our lives, in our minds? One of the best responses I know is maybe so, but. For example, you always fail and you will fail again. Definitely. This is not you speaking, this is depression speaking. You respond to it by saying, maybe so, but I still have to try it. This is never going to work. Maybe so, but still I'm going to give it my best. Nobody ever is going to love you. Maybe so, but I'll start with loving myself. For better or for worse, there is absolutely no running away from depression or fighting it aggressively. This is not how this animal is defeated. It's a tricky animal. We will defeat it by its own weapon, by tricks. We will trick it that we almost believe it. We partially believe it. We almost agree with it, but not completely. This is why maybe so is so powerful, because it disarms depression. It doesn't have to fight back with more depressive thoughts. You have already agreed with whatever it had to say. Your trick is to still act and do what you have to do. That's why maybe so, but is so powerful. You give the depression the maybe so part, you give the but part to yourself. And this is what you need. One of my favorite phrases that people believe Winston Churchill said is that one: when you go through hell, keep going. I'm not trying to oversimplify your pain, and I'm not trying to trivialize it. I know and I believe that you probably are suffering intensely, enormously, if you're watching it. However, if you are in your personal hell right now, the only way out of it is to keep going through that. If you stop, you will get stuck. And this is what depression is trying to do with its thoughts. It wants to lock you in your bedroom, in that bed that feels safe. Again, it's a trick. There is no safety in your room. There is safety in action, in doing what needs to be done through your pain. That's why I would love for you to do two things. First, notice depressive thoughts. It is easy to recognize them. It will be easy for you. They're easily recognizable by those words like always and never, ever, nobody, everybody. Everybody hates you. Nobody loves you. You always fail. You never succeed. These are the key words that depression uses. Nobody, everybody, always, never. Whenever you start thinking that, this is not you. This is the organism or bacteria or something else that lives in your mind and in your body. And whenever you hear those thoughts, whenever you feel those feelings, you respond to that by saying, maybe so, but I still have to do it, because by the end we still have to go through our lives, and we still have to make the best out of it. I'm about to stop talking about depression. In the next video, I will talk deeply about, not about your depression, but you, that part of you that gave away space to depression. However, I would like to stress out that these videos are not a substitute for your individual therapy. Therapy, I think it's a great invention. Your therapist will know your personal pain. I have no access to it. Your therapist will know your personal story. So if you heard something useful, something that you would like to discuss with your therapist, please go ahead. If you would like to ask me some questions about this video, please go ahead. However, my goal is to give you means and tools to get through the day, to start doing something about your depression right now. If you watched it and now feel that you're ready to start your therapy, that's great. Find somebody local, somebody close to you. If you watch it and feel that you have something to talk to your therapist about, that's wonderful. Please go ahead. If you watch it and feel that you have something to talk to me about, you can send me a quick message. But again, my goal is to give you tools, to give you means to get through the day, to get through your pain, to start doing something right now, because I deeply believe that doing something is better than doing nothing at all. But I'm not here to substitute your therapist. It's impossible. It would be crazy for me to even try. So see your therapist, watch my next video, and feel better.